Thanks so much, bro, to come and hang out a little bit.
Absolutely.
My New Mexico brother.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
What year did you move out from New Mexico?
2003.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
2003. Wow, you've been here for over 20 years.
Yeah. I was 18 right out of high school.
Really?
Yeah. Right
No
out of
way.
high school. Yeah.
No way.
It's pretty frightening.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
What made you move to LA?
Architecture school.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I
So you knew what you wanted to do right away, right out of high school?
yeah, I think probably 15 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. And it all started at West Las Vegas. That's where I got inspired.
West Las Vegas.
High school.
Damn.
Town of, what is it, 16,000 people?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been there. I remember like my family back in the day were like thinking about moving there. It was kind of almost like a ghost town, right? Like when there was the railroad, right, that went through there,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, like historically.
Yeah, historically.
Yeah, it was like the central hub of the train coming from LA to Chicago.
Yeah.
And
Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Yeah.
Not
Not
Las
Nevada.
Vegas, Nevada. Yeah.
I think 6,800 or 6,500 feet elevation.
Yeah. It's really high too.
So a lot of good runners out there, and just sports in general.
Tough people.
Tough people. Very tough people, man. Yeah, that's just thinking back, like my dad.
Yeah.
Being raised by my dad was wow. Yeah, just talk about tough.
Yeah.
He was raised in do you know where like Romeroville is at? Between Santa Fe and Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Okay. What's it called?
Romeroville. It's like
Okay.
a small ranch.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
it's a very small community.
Uh-huh.
So he was raised on the ranch, and that's kind of where, just tough. You figure things out. And
Chop the wood, do all the
yeah, absolutely.
nature.
Man. Oh yeah. So if I go home, I'm chopping wood with my dad. He gives me an axe, chopping wood, or just helping him around, go cut trees wherever he's at or whatever.
Yeah.
Just amazing work. I feel like I want to give that to my kids too.
Work ethic and
Yeah.
just
Oh, for sure.
things that you can only get.
Yeah. And it helps so much in life, right?
Yeah.
Like in all aspects of life, whether it's, here on the mat or just at work or in my marriage or with the kids, whatever. Right?
Yeah.
It's amazing. So
Just how you do things, like the processes of doing things.
yeah. So I give a lot of credit to my pops for sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Did your dad wrestle?
He did. Yeah. Back in the 70s at West Las Vegas High School. Yeah. So he graduated in 1976 at high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he was more known as a football star. So if you go to town to Las Vegas right now and say his name, they'll know who he is.
Wow.
Mostly known for football.
Okay.
Linebacker. Yeah.
Okay.
And so he wrestled, he played football, and I think sport-wise, I think that was pretty much it. But he was a cowboy, so he was, bull rider, cowboy, all that kind of stuff on the ranch. And I think that's just what made him tough.
Yeah, for sure.
So he's probably my height, and he weighs probably maybe 180 now, 190 or something, but he's just solid rock still today. You're like, so inspirational.
Yeah. So you grew up wrestling. You wrestled through high school?
I wrestled through high school, yeah. So the wrestling journey was interesting. I think I started in probably fourth grade. What is it, 8 years old, 8 or 9? Something like that.
Something like that,
yeah. And Coach Gurule, his dad was my dad's wrestling coach in high school, or his uncle, whatever it was, but or one of them. So I show up to practice on day one in the cafeteria at the middle school, and I would think I was still fourth or fifth grade, whatever it was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I show up day one, and there was a small team. It was a cafeteria, just like a mat thrown in there, and it was very interesting, man. I was like, let's do it. And there was a girl there that had been wrestling probably for a couple of years, and the wrestling coach said, just go wrestle with her. And I didn't know what I was doing.
In middle school, huh?
Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing at all.
Or at the middle school. You were in elementary.
Yeah,
still.
maybe fifth grade, fourth grade, whatever it was. And she got me in the head and arm from neutral, what we call the bulldog.
Yeah.
And she just launched me, man. and I just kept getting up. She kept throwing me. So that was my introduction to wrestling, and ever since then, I was like, "This is it. So this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do." And no disrespect to her, she was in her own self really good.
Yeah, yeah.
She had good technique. She was
Yeah,
strong.
yeah.
She had been doing it, and she went, I think, all the way into high school. I don't know if she did anything, but she was
Back
good.
then, there wasn't too much female wrestling.
Not at
Now
all.
it's going
Yeah,
crazy, right?
now I think it's
Exploding.
I think it's the fastest growing sport in America,
Yeah.
especially in college, because
Yes.
now they're starting
In
to-
high school, right? It's the fastest growing
In
sport
high school,
in high school
but
for
I think
sure.
now in college they're trying to implement
Yeah.
wrestling.
Right,
so
right.
it's cool. I mean, in
Yeah.
my days you had to wrestle. The guys had to wrestle girls. Girls had to wrestle guys. There was
Yeah.
there weren't
When
divisions.
there were kids. I remember the kids tournaments at Santa Fe High with Mike
Coach
Lujan.
Lujan,
Coach
yeah.
Lujan. Yeah.
So yeah, going back, that's where we started, and those were like the tournaments at the time.
Mm.
Where Coach Lujan's Santa Fe, what do they call Santa Fe Opens? I forget what they
Yeah,
call
the
it.
junior wrestling, right?
Yeah,
was
I mean
it?
it was a staple in the state
Yeah.
for sure. Everyone went there, from all the way from like Las Cruces all the way up to Las Vegas, really.
Yeah.
And so we would go there. I think it was like Friday and Saturday, if I remember right. It was a 2-day tournament, and I think my first weight class was 60 pounds, 60 and under. Yeah, 60 pounds, and so anyway, yeah, you go 60 pounds. I don't think I won a match for at least a year. I didn't win one match. And so anyway, my dad ended up getting hurt at work. He fell off of a semi truck trailer and broke his back, and it's a really bad accident. And so he couldn't work anymore because he was on disability, but he could coach. And so that's the first year I wrestled was pretty bad, and I told my dad I don't want to go back out. I'm just not. I don't feel like I'm getting any better. And he says, no, you just keep going, and I'll start coaching as well. And so that's when everything sort of changed for me in wrestling. I went from not winning a match to winning like a national title, I think that first year.
Wow.
Yeah, at Reno, Nevada.
Wow.
And then right into middle school, it was amazing.
And your brother, he was older, younger?
I have an older brother and I have a
brother.
younger brother.
Oh, okay.
My older brother.
They both wrestled, right? But
No. So my
No?
older brother, he was a very good cross country runner, very good.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and so I definitely followed in his paths in running, but in wrestling, he has a state record in the state of New Mexico for getting pinned the fastest.
Getting pinned the fastest. You remind him of that, huh?
It's not really a record, but he's self-proclaimed. So he went out to wrestle, man, and they pinned him so fast. He was like, yes. He got up, and he's a very funny, comedic guy.
Yeah.
And man, it was hilarious. So that was his wrestling career. He started when he was a senior in high school. So he just was messing around, having fun.
Yeah.
But then so I started getting serious then, and then
But you did cross country, huh?
I did cross. He
you
did cross.
You did
I
it.
did,
You did
yeah,
it. Okay.
Yeah, I did cross country my whole career too. Like in middle school, high school. I think well, I don't know about here, but in Las Vegas, you could, and in New Mexico in general, if you're an 8th grader, you could make the varsity team on any sport if you can make it. So I ran cross country varsity as an 8th grader, and I wrestled varsity as an 8th grader. I had a blast, man. I loved running.
Nice.
It's a tough sport.
I had a good friend. I think we talked about him, Mike Burgoyne from Pewaukee. He was a beast.
Yeah.
He got a scholarship to New Mexico State.
Oh, I'm sure my older brother, they probably ran together back in the 90s.
Yes.
Yeah, because my older brother graduated in
And
96.
he could fight too.
I'm sure in Milwaukee.
Yeah, he could fight.
Absolutely. Yeah. That whole area, right? Like Pewaukee and Espanola.
Yeah. He could fight.
Yeah, man. The camel.
Yeah.
The Camel Rock, you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? In Pewaukee.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So yeah, they probably ran together maybe in high school. So yeah, I mean, I ran cross country, wrestled, and then I think my 10th grade year we moved to Rio Rancho.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. So we moved from Vegas. My parents, we did the pilgrimage to Albuquerque, Rio Rancho.
Yeah,
My
yeah,
family
yeah.
there. So we moved
Okay.
there, and I think we just wanted a better school.
Okay.
My parents wanted me to be, not that West Las Vegas doesn't have a good school. I'm not
Right,
saying that,
right.
but I wanted to pursue architecture, and Rio Rancho High School had an actual architecture program
Oh,
in high
wow.
school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so I got plugged in there and really just took off. Yeah, and the wrestling
Okay.
program
And
too.
then your brother was able to.
Yeah, he's 7 years younger than I am.
Mm.
So by that time, he was already wrestling. I think he started when he was 3 years old. So he definitely he got the best of it. Yeah, like 3 years old, he was already winning national titles at a young age. And so he tore it up in the state. He's, I think, one of the best wrestlers out of that entire state ever. Yeah. So
What was his name?
Louis
Louis
Trujillo. Yeah.
Trujillo, yeah.
Good kid, man. I mean, he's not a kid anymore, but he's one of the hardest workers you'll ever meet for sure. And
What were some of his accomplishments?
he was a 4-time state champ. Should have been a 5-time, but he's 4-time. And he won. They used to do, if you placed state first, second, and maybe third, they have what's called high school nationals.
Mm.
And so any state champ or runner up from all the states around the 50 United States get invited to this national tournament as a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior.
Mm.
So he won freshman, sophomore, junior, and he would have been the first to win all 4 years, but something happened his senior year there and got hurt. But I think he got third maybe or something there. But anyway, still,
Yeah.
it was a huge thing, right? And then he won Fargo, which is probably the
North Dakota.
toughest tournament in the
Biggest
in the
tournament.
country.
I think biggest tournament, right? Biggest wrestling tournament in the world.
Absolutely. In the country for sure, yeah. I mean, Fargo is, you win Fargo, you're
But
Olympic
it takes Saturday or July.
Yeah.
Go there.
Yeah, so he also was a cadet and a junior. He placed third,
Wow.
so he's All-American, and
Wow.
he won his junior. Huge accomplishment, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
And then the Pan Ams, he got third place in Pan Am, which is in Central America.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
South America, Central America is big. I mean, that's huge too, right? So he's got he has Reno. I don't know if you heard of Reno Tournament of Champions. It's the toughest high school tournament in the country, and he won that. I don't know if he won it once or twice. Yeah, but crazy, right? Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. I think there I took.
Did he wrestle in college?
Yeah, he did. He got a scholarship at Arizona State, and then from there I don't know if it just didn't work out for him. He didn't really enjoy it, and so they transferred him somewhere to New York. I don't know if it was Hofstra or a college there that tied to Hofstra, because you have probation now when you switch colleges. You can't just go,
right.
So, and then after that, he just started getting to work, and now he's got a big club there in New Mexico, and him and his buddy
Okay.
they have a program
In Rio
wrestling
Rancho?
program. Yeah. So he's tearing it up.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
Yeah, but man, those were good times when he was really young. He was pushing him, and
Yeah.
such a good time.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of the journey. I think wrestling Rio Rancho High School was pretty amazing. And then being able to do architecture at the same time. And so I just knew early on that's what I wanted to do. And then I just pursued it and persevered through all the stuff that happens, through trying to make it, especially here being 18 years old and having to pay rent.
Yeah.
At
Where did you live in LA?
Burbank.
Oh, you've always lived in Burbank.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So coming here 18 and having to pay rent was tough. You grew up real fast, right?
Yeah. Wow.
And so when I got here, I started calling people on the yellow pages, like contractors. I was like, I do plans, and I think one guy called me back, and so I started doing the plans for them. They'd go build the house or whatever, and so that's how it started off. Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Where'd you go to school?
Woodbury.
Woodbury, that's right.
Yeah. So I never really liked school, to be honest with you, Professor. I was more hands-on kind of guy. I wanted to work.
To do it, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to work, and so I did well in school. I had to in order to do sports. My dad was like, 3.5 GPA. So I did do well for sure, but I just never enjoyed it, man. So when I came to school, the architecture school, I was like, yeah, it's not for me. Like
Sitting down all day. And
yeah, it was tough. Woodbury has a really good architecture program.
yeah.
And so I just bailed out. I was like, it's just not for me. So I had to pursue my licensing and stuff through a different avenue, which is very difficult. Talk about like perseverance again.
Yeah.
And that was hard. It's very difficult. But the state of California does allow that. And you know, it's
amazing.
It's been pretty for sure.
That wrestling doesn't hurt, right? Perseverance and following through, and
yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, that again goes back to not only my dad but my mom, my family. But you know, just going back to that.
They moved back to Vegas.
So just recently.
Okay.
Yeah, they're kind of helping my grandmother out because she's getting older.
Yeah.
And so they're out there again right now. Just meantime, they still have their house in Rio Rancho.
Mm-hmm.
And my older brother lives in Rio Rancho. My younger brother lives in Rio Rancho. So everyone's still, well, my older brother lives in Albuquerque, but adjacent.
Mm-hmm.
So basically all my family is still in New Mexico. Yeah. I was the guy who left. Yeah. It's hard to leave that state.
They call it land. It's a land of enchantment, but they call it land of entrapment.
Did they really? I've never heard that. For real?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like you go and you don't leave.
It makes sense. Yeah. You know, I've talked about it with my wife to, you know, one day maybe go back.
Yeah.
You know, way later in life.
Yeah.
Very, very possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do love it here though.
Yeah. I love New Mexico too. It's just so peaceful, and I mean the sun and just the nature. It's very relaxing for me.
It's one of the best places in the world that I've been to.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Very
it's different, you know, different than
anywhere.
Anywhere, yeah.
The food, right?
Yeah, food's good as well.
Fast food. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw someone the other day on the street and had my Team New Mexico jacket, and he was like, you know, my parents live there now, but they need to do something about their food. They need more food. And I was like, okay.
We talk about like the families, right? The people from northern New Mexico, like we're Spanish, right? From Spain, because the Spanish came up for the English, right? And landed on the East Coast, right?
Yeah.
So looking for gold, right? And so one of the places they went to was like, you know, New Mexico, Santa Fe, right? They have the oldest house in the USA. They have oldest church,
Oldest capital,
right?
Yeah.
The Route 66 and just all the history and stuff,
right?
In that area.
Yeah, they have
my family's living there for. I mean, they can trace their like 400 years, I think, something crazy like that.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, people say, "Where are you from?" Like New Mexico.
Yeah.
Oh, but where are you really from? New Mexico.
Yeah.
All my family and grandparents, great
like
grandparents.
my grandfather's, my mom's dad's side was definitely like, you know, Spanish, like, you know, European, and then my grandmother was more like mixed with like Indian and stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. Mezcla, like mixed.
Yeah.
It's such a great culture to study. You know. If anyone has time to do that, like just studying it.
Yeah.
Man, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I've never done a DNA, like, you know, those family tree tests.
Yeah.
I've never done that, but just reading books and stuff like that, it's amazing.
Yeah.
The state of New Mexico is great.
For sure.
Yeah. But yeah, so, you know, moving here, I wanted to wrestle or run in college, and I could have, but you know, I was kind of burnt out with cutting weight, man. I was cutting a lot. I think I was at probably 150, 55. I basically weighed the same then that I do right now.
Wow.
Yeah, but I was cutting to 130.
Yeah.
On a weekly basis.
Gets old.
It was bad, and but you know, so I would have pursued it, but I really want to do architecture, and so I did that. Almost went to Ohio State with my buddy, and at the time, I think he ended up graduating from there. Yeah, a good friend of mine from New Mexico, and we were going to go together. And then last minute, I said, you know what, man, I'm not going to do it. I want to stay here and focus on architecture. And you know, I'm glad I did, obviously. And so it was a bummer not to be able to wrestle anymore, because I had to get that out of me. You know, that sort of grappling, that just being on the mat, and that's what kind of led me into jiu-jitsu. And
Is that what made you want to do jiu-jitsu? Like, did you watch UFCs or anything?
well, UFC wasn't that big. You definitely heard about Alberto Crane, for sure, and all the stuff you did in New Mexico, and all of your MMA fighting but I wasn't familiar with jiu-jitsu so much. I mean, I knew it was there, but I was just so focused on wrestling that it to me it was like interference when I'm super competing, and so I didn't know, right? I didn't know about it, and I remember remembering your name, really, Alberto Crane and jiu-jitsu. And when I moved here to Burbank, I don't know, were you here back in 2003?
2003, no.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I moved here in 2007.
Okay. So that's kind of when I started jiu-jitsu. I think in maybe 06 or 07. And at the time, so I did live here in Burbank, but then I had moved to Sherman Oaks for a minute. And I walked into Chris DeSandro's gym, Street Sport, there in Sherman Oaks. And I said, I want to join. I want to do jiu-jitsu. So I signed up right there on the spot, got a gi, and I was kind of shocked that I had to wear a gi. I really didn't know about it, honestly. I knew grappling, but I didn't know like the sport of jiu-jitsu. And then the rest is history,
You remember the first submission?
Oh yeah.
Did somebody submit you?
No, I definitely
came in and right out of the gate.
Yeah, I do remember getting submitted though, like a heavy submission, like out. Like as
a choke.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I think he was a purple belt. I was a white belt.
Yeah.
I was super at the time. Like, I was a wrestler, right? So it was very
for sure.
Yeah, and but my first submission was a guillotine. I used to guillotine all the time, man, because it's so much like wrestling, right? Like that front headlock system. And then for me, when the first submission that I can remember that I got choked out on was like I think more like a bread slicer, sort of thing.
Okay.
I was out.
You didn't see it coming.
You didn't see it coming, and I could feel it, but I wasn't gonna tap.
Yeah.
And the shot was out, and it was cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. That was good. So we got I got my blue belt with Professor Chris, and there was a guy there who was always talking about you. Because I said, I'm from New Mexico, and he's like, oh, one of my good buddies is Alberto Crane, and I said, I've heard of Alberto.
What's his name? He came in here that one time.
Yeah,
he would always compete with one of my students, Maverick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. Coming up through all the belts.
He's a great guy, and so he was always talking about you, and I said, oh, great, one day you should meet him, and it has never happened, and then. Where was he? He was in.
He was from Chatsworth or something, right?
Yeah. Now he's got a gym in Chatsworth.
Okay.
I think Street Sport Chatsworth. I think if he still has it. And but yeah. So at the time he was always talking about you. And so your name was always there, And anyway,
what a coincidence, huh? You're in Burbank.
I ended up taking 10 years off of jiu-jitsu. I got my blue belt and then started having a family. And it was just not the time for me to be training at the time. So I took 10 years off. And then when it was time to start again, I was like Alberto Crane's first place I came and never left.
Wow. Yeah.
Got my black belt from you. And
amazing, man.
What an honor.
Love talking about New Mexico and just all the stories. We know a lot of the same people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Was Jason Tapia, Alex Tapia, was he the coach at Rio Rancho at any time?
No. Not when I was
Rio Rancho?
No.
Like afterwards?
Maybe.
Or assistant coaching?
Maybe. Not while I was there.
Okay.
Nor my younger brother.
After that.
Yeah. And maybe at Cleveland High School, which is another high school now in Rio Rancho.
Yeah.
But I remember Alex and Jason and Coach Posa.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite guys, man. Henry Martinez.
Yeah.
I loved Henry. He was
Diego Sanchez, who he beat Henry Martinez, I think it was the state finals.
Probably sounds right.
He kind of stalked him, and then he beat him his junior year. Then he won the senior year. But and then he ended up fighting, right?
Yeah, MMA fighter.
Yeah.
I think Diego
had a long career in the UFC.
I don't know if Diego wrestled one of my one of my buddies at Rio Rancho for state 1 year as well. So I think, did Diego wrestle at Del Norte? Do you know Del
Yes,
Norte?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think they met up in the finals 1 year,
Okay.
and I forget who won.
I know Diego won his senior year.
Yeah.
I think he beat. I think he won. Yeah, beat the Henry in the finals. But
So maybe it was the junior year that my buddy beat him. I don't know, but it was always fun watching the heavier weights wrestle, and I think he was like in the 171 weight class, if I remember right, or 165 or something.
Something like that. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, there was a lot of wrestlers turned MMA. Oh, it's pretty cool. to see that.
I mean, New Mexico became a big MMA hub.
Yeah,
around the world.
Because of Jackson,
Greg
right?
Jackson. Yeah.
He's always been there. He's been there for a long time.
Yeah.
That's for sure. It's huge.
Mike Winklejohn.
Yeah.
He was the stand-up coach, right?
Was he really
striking? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Greg he was from a family of wrestlers, and then there's this guy named Chris Luttrell. He was a wrestler, and he wrestled at UNM when they had a wrestling program. Yeah. And then they got rid of the program because of Title IX.
Yeah.
And then he started, like, the UFC came out, and then Greg started helping him with just jiu-jitsu and whatever. He didn't have a background, but they just looked at books and studied whatever. Yeah. Wow. And they had a thing. He called it Gaido Jitsu, the way of the street.
Wow.
But he recruited a lot of wrestlers, and so did Chris Luttrell. Chris Luttrell came up to Santa Fe one time. That's how I got connected with Greg.
Really? Oh, okay.
And so they had a lot of tough guys.
Is that how you started jiu-jitsu, or
what's that?
Is that kind of how?
That's how I started fighting.
Right. Okay.
That's how I got kind of started doing MMA. Well, I got my black belt, and because I moved to Brazil when I was before that.
Okay.
So I moved to Brazil.
So this was after you'd already.
Right. So I moved back in 2000, or the beginning of 2000. So
how long were you in Brazil for?
Like on and off for about 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And then I came back. I wasn't sure where I was going to go. And then I loved Santa Fe, I know it's like not the best demographics, right? There's like 60,000 people. Yeah. Not a lot of, money or whatever. Not that I was thinking about that, but I felt at home there.
Right.
And so we started a school, and we ended up having all these IPGF, all the PANS worlds, champions. Yeah, it was crazy.
That's amazing.
And then I have that old picture down there by the mat, bunch of guys like UFC, my six guys I think in that picture went to the UFC.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
Ultimate Fighter.
Amazing.
Yeah, almost everybody's in that picture is a black belt.
It's amazing. Now.
Yeah. Now, yeah. But it's pretty cool. It was like a small little spot, and we just grinded.
I think the importance that you've made in that community in New Mexico is huge, and you should be honored for that one day for sure. Absolutely, because that's it's such a huge, it's a growing sport, right? Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
Even in New Mexico now, there's gyms popping up all over the place. And a lot of them are probably from your roots, to be honest with you.
In Santa Fe and Albuquerque as well. Yeah.
Because I know you were the first.
I was the first jiu-jitsu gym, and I was the one who laid the foundation for sure. Right. Even all the way down to Las Cruces and people. They all.
Yeah. So. And that's amazing. So
they're all like Gracie Baja gyms,
Right.
Yeah.
And I know now, like the wrestling jiu-jitsu mixes now, which I love. That's one of my biggest passions is that
mixing
that
it together.
Wrestlers can do jiu-jitsu.
I mean, wrestling is like a short time of your life, competitively, right?
Yeah, for sure. Has to be.
But jiu-jitsu you can do for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
As a lifestyle, to not get fat, to stay healthy, to be happy, right?
Yeah, and that's why I love it so much because, like I said, I needed to be on the mat and get it all out.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And man, it's provided that times 10.
Yeah.
It's really therapy. Right?
Yeah, that's it.
It's also the best workout ever. Because wrestling, it's tough on your body. Honestly, like when you're competing, I know jiu-jitsu can be like that too, but you definitely have an expiration date.
For sure.
Yeah.
Big takedowns on your body. Everything else.
Like, I coach now, I help coach. And when I go live with the kids, I'm good on the mat, but once I get off, oh my gosh, my hips are all messed up. And it's fun though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The fact that I can still wrestle because of jiu-jitsu, I'll put it that way. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because you stay active. Stay moving, stay training.
Yeah. It's tough to blend sometimes, I'll be honest with you. I'll get on a hip you know, I'll have a wizard in, and then, you know, I don't mind being not on my back necessarily, but it's interesting how when you blend the two together, technique wise, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, you've been assistant coaching at Eagle Rock
Yeah.
High School, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a volunteer position. I
Mhm.
can't, I wish I had time to do more, but it's basically like a twice a week commitment that I made with the coach. And, it's been amazing the last 3 years, man. Just, seeing those kids grow.
Yeah.
And the fact that I can give back into the program
Yeah.
or into wrestling. It's amazing. It really is. And, just fun to watch, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like one of the best things you can do, right? But especially like the youth, to lay that foundation for them, right?
Yeah.
Of like true character building things.
That's it. Yeah, that's exactly it. Because, you know, to create champions is a whole other thing. Like twice a week ain't gonna cut it, but it's more character building. Yeah, tell the kids, hey, it's all about your character. You know, like how are you doing with your teachers? How are you doing with, you know, when you walk around campus? How do you carry yourself up? You know, and there's one story this past year of a kid when I came in 3 years ago. He was very like, you know, very shy. He was overweight for sure. Zero confidence. And he became the captain of the team.
Oh, wow.
Senior year, 3 years later.
Wow.
And
That's what it's about right there, right?
Yeah, and at the banquet, it was this last couple weeks ago. His speech was just, it was amazing. Just he's like, you know, now have confidence. I feel like I can do things. You know, I'm going to college. You know, I'm just saying it really helped boost his confidence for sure.
Yeah.
And it just gave me chills because he was a good wrestler, but that wasn't the point.
Right.
For him, it was to build that character, to have confidence in himself, you know, to really turn that weight into like strength. It's nothing better than that. To seeing a kid, right? Like,
grow and
gain confidence.
Right.
Yeah.
Believe in himself. And
that's what it's all about. You know, at the end of the day, you can win all these state championships for sure, but you know, if you change a kid's life for the good, man, we did our job, right? Yeah. So that was very touching as a coach just to see that and hear that.
Yeah. And we're talking about the girls wrestling. You guys had girls. You guys have a squad of girls, right? As well?
Yeah. Yeah, we have a full team. Pretty
team?
much full team.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple weights in between missing, but they're tough, man. These like the girls. I mean, I think girls always had to be tough in wrestling because they're the underdogs.
Yeah.
But they're tough. They're hard workers. They pay attention.
Do they have a wrestling room at Eagle Rock?
Yeah, we have a room. We have our own room. Hoping to get a bigger one, but you know, wrestling, if it's tough to get funded in any school, pretty much.
Right.
And but they're starting to recognize that, hey, this team is legit. There's a lot of people going out on the team. And they're actually doing well, right? And so, you know, it's tough, but the room is probably a little bigger than this place. But there is a room for sure, and there's enough space for 2 varsity boys and girls. And you know, I wish we had wall mats, of course, but
there's no wall mats.
There's no wall mats, so it's kind of tough.
Okay.
It's tough. But they make it work. We make it work. And, and you know, it reminds me of like West Las Vegas sort of style, where you just unroll
Put
mats
some mats down.
Auxiliary gym, and you know, you're always usually the underdog.
Yeah.
So we figure it out, but yeah, definitely they have their own space, which is good. Yeah. And now you're a wrestling dad now too,
Wrestling dad, yeah, for sure. Full-time job.
Crazy. So much different, right, than jiu-jitsu?
It's
so
fun.
similar, but it's
it's been fun, man. It's been a lot of fun. It's just such an exciting sport.
Yeah.
You know, just like you make one mistake, that's it.
That's it. No,
you know, in jiu-jitsu, a lot of, you know, you can make a mistake and you can recover, but in wrestling or, you know, like judo too, right? You make one mistake, that's it.
It's over. Yeah. It's hard to recover, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You start realizing that it's 80% mental.
Yeah.
The rest is.
And it's just so dynamic, right? Because it's like up and down, and just we've been doing freestyle now. After the regular season, it's been fun. It's been fun.
You guys doing Greco as well, or
No, just freestyle. Yeah,
Okay.
because Austin is like freestyle. That's
Got
his. That's
That's his thing.
his thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Freestyle is in itself another element.
Right,
of
right,
wrestling
right,
too.
right.
Totally different.
Yeah.
Totally different.
Yeah.
It's not as it can be confusing for a while, the point system.
Right.
Because it's so different.
Right.
But it's so fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fast.
Yeah, it's fast.
Fast.
Yeah, you can one match can flip in a few seconds.
Yeah, if you get one turn.
Yeah. Yeah. So she started doing those
throw.
gut wrenches and just learning some of that. She didn't even. She never did it before, but this last tournament she
leg
did.
laces.
Yeah, leg laces.
Yeah.
Yeah, because every time you expose their back, right?
And then you switch, go the other way.
Yeah.
So by the time you know it, it's already over.
Yeah. You take them out.
Yeah. Well, that's fun. So you're enjoying it. That's
Yeah,
good.
it's been fun. You know, it's her thing, and
It's going to be very cool because she's what, a sophomore?
she's a freshman.
She's a freshman. So, like I said earlier, the wrestling jiu-jitsu element is real. Like it's a real thing.
Yeah.
And I love that it's happening nowadays.
Yeah. It's really cool because she's developing as an athlete,
Yeah.
just all the positions, the stand up, just all the things. So it's fun.
Yeah. And one day, and she probably already is, right? Like figuring out how to use both in both sports.
Yeah, I'm gonna have one of my old students come out here, Jess Martinez from New Mexico. He's the prototype where he we connected both of them, but he kind of stopped after he went to Vegas. He went to Highland
Did you wrestle there?
University. Yeah,
they started a
but then he
program.
hurt his ankle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Dan Gable's what was his name? Best friend.
Was the coach there?
Was the coach there?
Okay.
Yeah. But he hurt his ankle and then he just kind of fell off.
Oh,
you know. But he was like a 4-time high school state champ, like juvenile world champ, IBGF, blue belt.
Oh.
Won some other things, But yeah, he's like,
Oh, that's great.
yeah, so he's gonna come out. I'm gonna have him show his some of his tricks and stuff. And
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he started fighting MMA too.
Oh, really?
He has like an 8-0,
Recently?
10.
Right now?
No, he's been fighting. He's now he's like, man, he's almost 30. He was like a kid.
Wow.
He was like 8 years old, 9 years old.
And he started with you as a white belt.
Yeah. His dad was my trainer,
Okay.
physical,
Yeah.
working out and stuff, So he's like a big part of my thing, my training, important part.
That's good. So he was also doing jiu-jitsu and wrestling at the
Yeah.
time.
So a lot of the competition team that we had, they did jiu-jitsu and then they started wrestling too. And so then during the wrestling season, because when they're kids, the wrestling season's short, right?
Yeah.
In high school, it changes, right?
Yeah.
You gotta keep going if you wanna
Freestyle. Yeah.
if you wanna stay relevant, right?
Yeah.
So when they were kids, they were just dominating everything. They were doing wrestling and then jiu-jitsu. They were on the mat all year long.
That's awesome.
But then when they got to high school, they had to focus more on wrestling,
If you want to be good, you
Right.
gotta, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that's what kept me from not doing jiu-jitsu. Just
Right.
There was a guy in at my high school that was always talking about it and showing. Now that I think about it, he was showing like some chokes and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and I was like, well, that's cool, but I just kind of left it there. Didn't do anything else with it. But
What years were those?
early thousands, like 2001, 2.
2001.
Yeah, 2001, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
And he could have watched a video for all I know. I have no idea. But
They didn't have too much. They didn't have jiu-jitsu in that area too much, but it was growing, right?
Yeah.
Greg Jackson was in Albuquerque. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the guys would go train at Jackson's during the off season too.
Right.
Yeah, and do that. And and then some of the guys, I don't think anyone in my high school went to do MMA, but my brother's training partner at the Olympic Training Center was Seguro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they were training partners at the Olympic Training Center.
Triple C.
Yeah.
Olympic champion, UFC champion.
Amazing.
Yeah. What was the third? Oh, two weight categories in UFC.
In the UFC. Yeah. So, but I think his wrestling
flyweight, bantamweight,
crazy.
And
John Jones is from Albuquerque.
John Jones. Well, he had Greg Jackson. They assembled they had a lot of guys like back in the day, back right after I moved here. So like 2007, but like right after I moved to 2007. So right after that, like GSP and everybody started. Became a hub.
Became a hub.
After what's that? Diego Sanchez, he won the Ultimate Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
So like right before like 2005-6,
Mm-hmm.
and so because he won it became people started to come, because he was connected with the UFC now.
And he was on TV.
It was on TV.
Yeah, it got popular.
It was huge. It was huge. It was on Spike TV, right?
Yeah,
It was like the men's
Was
work,
it Spike? Yeah, something
men's
like that.
men's channel,
Yeah,
and it blew up. That's what blew it up, right? Was that first season,
right.
and so Diego
remember
won it,
that.
and out of New Mexico, right? And
Right.
so everybody's like, "Oh man, I want to do that too." Yeah, man, that changed changed MMA, changed helped jiu-jitsu too,
Oh, for sure.
right? Because Joe Rogan was talking about it every
But
fight.
the fact that an Olympic champion did that too, like
Right,
Cejudo doing that, it was
right.
Like, and he always was against the grain. Cejudo, he was like, right out of high school, he went to the Olympics.
Right.
He didn't go to college.
Go to college, yeah.
And so that was in itself pretty amazing. Being 18,
Yeah.
and just worked out that the Olympics were that next year. It's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were
because
a good
the normal thing is, right, you get a scholarship, you wrestle at college, but then man, like a lot of the guys they get used up, right? They get their bodies are
like again, like Bo Nickel is another good sort
example,
of example. So his dad was my younger brother's wrestling coach at Rio Rancho High School.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Bo, they're from Rio Rancho.
No way.
Yeah, not originally, but they were
they came through.
Yeah, they came through, and he coached at my high school for a good probably 5 or 6 years.
Oh wow.
Coach Nickel. Yeah.
Wow.
And Bo was very young when my brother was probably a senior.
Wow.
And then he ended up tearing it up in college, and then now he's doing really good in the MMA, right?
Yeah,
I think he's undefeated, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
He was on the main card for UFC 300.
I think there's something about the wrestler's work ethic, that can carry you.
No, the athleticism, right, is a lot different than jiu-jitsu. It's just what you have to be able to do with your body, and your spatial awareness, and your just.
And I think we were talking about earlier,
different.
like just the aspect of drilling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm sure like the higher athletic sort of jiu-jitsu practitioners who compete a lot do that more. But in wrestling, it's
it's like the wrestling is so it's like the oldest sport, right? Like the oldest sport, so it's so developed, right? Compared to like jiu-jitsu.
Right.
I mean, it's amazing that in the 90s, right, the Gracie family, like they put it on the map with the UFC.
Amazing. Yeah.
And they gave an outlet also for wrestlers to keep going, right?
Yeah.
And have something else to pursue.
Absolutely. That's where I find myself now, right?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Enjoying that.
Yeah. But that's wrestling and jiu-jitsu. It's like, it's a different thing. Wrestling's definitely,
I tell
it's in the schools and so
it's one of the best things you could do for a kid. I always tell people, a sport, put them in running or wrestling. Like they're going to be fine. Not to say
that's saying my girls are in running and also in wrestling.
Man. I'm two of the toughest sport. Honestly, I told you once, like cross country was the toughest sport ever, like by far.
I respect people who do cross country because the pain, the suffering is real.
Track is even worse, but because the distance, when you're running the 2 mile on a track in the summertime, dude, it's so bad.
Yeah.
And I ran to compete, so it's like you're sprinting almost 2 miles.
Yeah.
And could be 100 degrees, and like I remember, like in Las Cruces, New Mexico, it gets hot there. And it's tough, man.
Yeah.
Running is no joke.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good recipe for wrestlers, because that's really why I ran, was to my dad put me in running to be in shape for wrestling, really. And then it just took off and I loved it. But yeah, man, it's two really good sports, right? And so opposite of each other.
Yeah, it's funny, both my girls, they do both of those. And it's funny, Zadit ran cross country as well in high school.
Amazing. And she's from here, yeah?
She's she's from Armenia. She moved here, but she grew up here after that.
Yeah.
Glendale.
Glendale, yeah. So, and then you guys met. You from New Mexico? Her from
I came for a jiu-jitsu tournament.
It's like when I met my wife. She was
With
a Valley girl.
Yeah, Alexandre. It's crazy. Came out here for a Hicks and Gracie tournament back in 2000.
Wow.
Yeah.
2000, man. That was a long time ago. Where was it at? Do you remember?
We're in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
Just a random place. right by the 3rd Street Promenade.
Oh, really? Just like an auditorium or something?
Well, the tournament was in UCLA.
Oh,
But
okay.
we stayed in Santa Monica because it was right by the beach,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And then he was like, man, let's go do something. Let's go do something. And so I
Professor
ended
X.
up, Professor X, the X Factor. And so we ended up going out and, met her. And
Were you living in New Mexico at the time?
yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, the school. And
Yeah.
yeah.
New Mexico. So you guys met and then you got married thereafter pretty quick?
No, you know, we just, we really got along and whatever, stay connected. And, when I would come out here for tournaments and stuff. And then I was in Armenian, and it's like a thing, like if you're not Armenian, they don't marry another Armenian. Not that I was, thinking about marrying or whatever, but just kind of, we kept like in contact and we like got along really well.
So that was probably tough, huh? Breaking into the family.
Well, they really respect her because of who she is as a person. So I think, but still there's really only a couple of people that gave a hard time. But of course, once you have kids, everything's different. But everybody else, they really respect her. So
now you're part of the family, man.
Yeah. It's a lot of years now, almost 20 years. Yeah.
Man, just what you've done in Burbank for the community is pretty special. I was thinking back to COVID and how awful that was, right? But I think you probably stayed closed for maybe a month, if that.
Well, we closed at the beginning, right?
Yeah, maybe for a month, though, right?
Yeah, and then when they had the protests, well, a little bit before, like people were like we allowed like Fight Club, right? Like 1, 2, whatever, allowed them to just come and train, and then they had the protests, and then all the staff, they all came together and like, listen, like, we need it, we need it. Can we do classes? And then they allowed us to open up. They allowed the gyms to open up.
Right.
Like they announced it on the news, and then like a week or 2 weeks later, they said, "Oh, we have to close you up again." And then we just never closed up again.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
I was part of that Fight Club.
Yeah. So because people like they were getting sick, they were gaining weight.
Yeah.
This is like what you needed to do to stay healthy, right?
But I like the way that you handled yourself during that time. It was very like, very respectable because you weren't being a bully.
Yeah.
You weren't, arguing. You just said, this is the gym and people need to be here. And
yeah. I mean, I needed it. I say they needed it, but I needed it too, like for my mental health, for my happiness, I needed to do it, and I saw the need for other people. Like we weren't supposedly essential, but I mean, what else am I going to do? I've been doing this like my whole life. Like,
exactly.
What else am I going to do? So that's, and they had those dummy like jiu-jitsu where you're drilling with dummies and stuff. And I was like, man, I can't, I tried like, I think once. And then I was like, I can't, this isn't jiu-jitsu. That's not what it's about. Like if it's going to be like this, I'm not doing it.
There's I remember doing something online with you. But you know what?
At the beginning, me and Alshana, we just grabbed his guitar and just started like.
He was here at the time. Huh?
Yeah, we never stopped. Literally like the same day that they closed everything up, or the next day, we just did a noon Facebook Live. Yeah, and we never stopped. Right, we just kept going.
Yeah, I know. I remember I did one of the classes, and it was you did more like TAC Fit.
Yeah, we did I did TAC Fit because you could do TAC Fit on Zoom. Right.
Like
legit,
it was great.
People got better.
Felt connected.
Right.
I didn't get any better, but I felt connected.
Well, you felt connected, but people actually they got better with their movements.
I'm just saying I'm a knucklehead.
Yeah. No.
It was moving. It was fun.
Yeah. It was cool. We just kept going, and then we had a full schedule, right, with everybody.
Right.
Like all the coaches, all of us got we had a schedule, a full day schedule.
No, it was amazing, and just seeing that too.
Yeah.
But when you opened, I remember coming back and because I worked, I never stopped working.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I was probably busier than ever, and able to actually get projects done without the clients down my neck.
Without traffic too, right?
It'd take 10 minutes to get to Santa Monica.
Yeah, right.
And so it was good having my normal schedule, go to work, train, all my family stuff, and it was anyway. You just did such a great job, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
COVID.
I'm not saying anybody's right or wrong. I believe in jiu-jitsu, And I want people to do jiu-jitsu. I don't care
No,
about how
yeah,
people
yeah.
feel or their beliefs, you know, like I just,
Yeah.
I don't, you know, I just want to, I'm
You
just
got to be
ready.
neutral, right, to be
Yeah,
successful.
I just, that's how I really feel. I just want them. I don't care about,
Right.
you know, if you feel this way or the other way. I
Doesn't
just
matter.
want you to do
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, there's some local people, I won't say, like local establishments that shut down because of how, you know, blatantly against the law they were.
Yeah,
Just come on, they ain't gonna work.
yeah, yeah,
You know, I don't want that for anyone. But
yeah,
when it gets political,
yeah,
it's like, you know, so you somehow navigated through that, which I thought was really cool.
yeah, yeah.
And you grew probably.
Yeah, we definitely got like a lot of different people, different, but yeah, we grew. We definitely grew, and we got like a lot more connected too.
Right.
With our community.
Yeah.
We got really close.
Yeah.
We got really close.
Yeah, that was interesting time, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, the kids classes that started with my kids and Anjanette's kids back, you know.
That's how you started the kids again.
Yeah, and then I just made a video on social media, and then some people, hey, can I bring my kids in too? And then it just really we just kept going, you know.
Yeah, it was tough. I know for us, because my girls they were all dancers.
Yeah.
You know, they're all ballerinas
Yeah.
and dancing. And they started off with the Zoom, and you can really,
Right.
but still, it's not the same.
It's not the same, yeah.
And then eventually they started. It was a perfect opportunity to work out outside in the parking lot. So they set up the stage at their gym.
Nice.
Not the stage, but like a floor.
Right, outside.
And they were doing
Doing it
dance
outside.
And
Nice.
it was like the best feeling ever just to get them back
Wow,
out there.
amazing, yeah.
Yeah. But we did a lot. We went off-roading a lot and camping during that time.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It was, you know, it was a good time as a
Find
family
the
for
silver
us.
lining, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah, well, for Serene, she, she started doing jiu-jitsu. They all started doing jiu-jitsu, but not because she had like dance, she had all these like drill teams, she had all these other activities.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that.
And then all of a sudden she started doing jiu-jitsu every day.
Mm.
They always did it, but then she got serious and actually was like, oh, I'm really good at this.
Right. She's very good at it.
Yeah,
By the way. It's
yeah,
like, wow.
yeah. And so then
cool.
it's then we never stopped, right?
Yeah.
And then things started to open up again. She started competing, and she loved
So that's
competing.
when she started around that time.
Well, they've always been
They've always
around
been
it
doing
since
it,
they were
yeah,
like
yeah.
3, 4,
Like
but it was like
serious.
twice a week, you know.
Yeah.
And then it's more serious after the pandemic. So that was like the silver lining.
Yeah. And it always has to be the kids to say, I want to do it.
Well,
Right.
because all the
Can't
other
push 'em.
activities stopped.
Got it. So perfect timing.
You know, so yeah. But we had jujitsu.
That's how you secretly help them get back into jiu-jitsu. Like,
You
this is what
know,
you're going
like,
to do.
Yeah, so it's she's wrestling. And she
Yeah,
tried out for
that's
wrestling.
awesome.
I didn't ask. She said I told her she should, but I didn't ask her. I didn't do.
Yeah.
She took
Well,
the
she
action
loves
on
it
her.
now.
Yeah, yeah,
You can't push your kids, right? It's like,
Yeah,
why?
yeah.
Why?
yeah.
I mean, you push them a little, but
I just wanted to the character things, right?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
If she says she's gonna do something, follow through with
Yeah,
it.
that of course.
Right?
I'm just saying, like,
do your best.
you can't, if they want to quit something, you say,
Right.
okay, well, you're going to finish and then you can quit.
Sure.
you
Yeah,
can't,
that's it.
you know, you don't want to do that.
Right. Right.
But yeah, that's one lesson. Like, you join something, you finish no matter what.
Mhm, mhm.
Not even an option to
Yeah.
quit something.
Yeah.
Don't even talk to me about it.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. But it's amazing raising kids nowadays,
Yeah.
I think.
How old are your daughters?
19, 15, 13, and 10.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's wild, huh? Yeah. So I'd probably have more of them. My wife's like, you know what? You're crazy. Like, that's it. We're over. And but it's fun. Yeah, they're all pretty much all of them are dancers or something in that vein. And they're really good at it. And so, you know, dance is like very disciplined,
Yeah,
almost
yeah,
like
yeah.
say wrestling would
For
be
sure,
and all
for
that.
sure.
And so
Body
Just-
control, body movements.
yeah, and yeah, they can do a lot of great things with their body. And
Did your wife dance?
no, my wife didn't dance. She's more of a swimmer, runner.
Okay.
She's very athletic.
Okay.
My wife, she could probably get in anything and do
Okay.
well.
Okay.
But they just have that natural athleticism.
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
But I love dance. I'm so getting into it. Like, it's amazing to watch them grow.
Support our kids, right?
Because they all started at 3 years old,
Mm,
and then now
Okay.
to see them develop, it's
yeah.
like, wow.
Getting good.
Getting good, going to competitions and doing their stuff. And, you know, it's a very subjective sport where, like, they're judging. things,
yeah,
but
yeah.
still, like
Yeah.
it's not like jiu-jitsu where you win.
Do any of your girls, do they want to wrestle or think like?
No, but they would all be really good at it. I'll put it that way.
Mm.
You know, at home I mess around with them, but
Yeah.
you know, they have to learn a few things in order to go out in life
Yeah.
alone one day.
Yeah. Yeah.
but-
Yeah. Yeah.
And I try to bring, like, I think 2 summers ago, last summer, I
Yeah.
said, Professor, I want to bring the girls over, and they did, and they came and they trained, but just as just to have,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
But I can't interfere with their dance schedule, but you know what I mean, or their activities. But it's my dream, but I don't know, you know, again,
Yeah.
I can't make them do it. So
Yeah, we went to the CIF for Serenade was like amazing. There was a arena or high school
yeah,
filled with girls. Like her bracket was it 32 girls?
really
We've never had that for
amazing.
for any jiu-jitsu tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the schools, right?
Right.
And then the masters and then going to state.
Did you like state? Did you
Oh,
enjoy
it
it?
was amazing.
It's
Like
amazing,
the
right?
level of competition was
yeah.
was so high.
Did you watch all the finals matches?
I did. I didn't watch all the finals, but I watched them. I watched around her weight,
Yeah.
like the one below,
okay.
like two below, one below, and then the one she did, just to see the girls, you know,
Yeah.
online because we stayed the 3 days, but we left like that morning because
Sacramento, right? Or no,
I was in
Bakersfield.
Bakersfield, yeah,
Yeah.
just because we were there for like 2.5
Yeah.
days, you know. And
Yeah.
there was she had a thing with her friends, so I was like, okay, we'll go back after the
But she was able to see
semifinals.
that type of competition.
Yeah, the level, right?
That level.
And there's levels.
It's crazy.
There was the number one girl ranked in her weight division. She's like number one in the nation. So
Where was she from?
she's from like up there, up north. I think close to Fresno,
Okay. Tough.
Clovis East, something like
yeah.
that.
Or West, yeah. They're
Yeah,
usually really good.
and yeah, she I think she made the world team just now for freestyle.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like just to see the girls develop like that, the
Yeah.
sport of wrestling, man.
Yeah.
It's been amazing to see.
Yeah.
And then now into college, I want to see how they figure that out.
Yeah, because and for girls, right? It's freestyle for
Yeah.
college.
It's crazy. Yeah. And I think they're gonna have to do what they do with boys. Like it's gonna have to be folk style. I think eventually it's gonna grow
For
so
high
much.
school?
No, for college. I think it's
Yeah,
gonna
I
have
think
to.
it's already decided that it's going to be
Just freestyle.
freestyle. Yeah, because
right into
we're the only
freestyle.
country that does
right,
folk style.
Yeah. But I love folk style, man.
Yeah, yeah,
like
it's
no
great.
other.
It's been fun. It's been fun. Like we were learning the rules during CIF because we didn't. She had like 4 matches during the season.
Wow.
How many matches did your girls have for the season?
No,
Did you
we had a
guys
lot.
travel around? Yeah,
Yeah.
like 20, 30, something like that.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, we had to shed 4.
Yeah, that's.
I didn't
not
realize
cool.
that. Yeah,
No, we had a lot. Yeah. Well, you know, Mike, the head coach has been doing it for
yeah,
25 years or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
So he's got a lot of calls, you know, and tournaments that he has a lot of capabilities to get a
Yeah,
tournament
yeah,
going.
for
or
sure,
whatever,
for
but
sure.
Yeah. But yeah, so next year you guys got a coach.
Yeah, yeah.
And
yeah.
hopefully
We're building it. Yeah, build
that's
at
good.
Hoover. Steal you from Eagle Rock.
Something from Eagle
It's
Rock.
closer to your home.
Yeah, right. No kidding. But yeah, it'll be fun. I remember going into
Hoover High School.
Germany, I think in like 1999 for wrestling.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I did like a little. It was like a sports thing with team. They called it Team USA, and you know, went out
Nice.
there represented it, and we just did freestyle,
Nice.
and I think Greco as well. And
Okay.
the guy from Poland, I was in ninth grade, going into 10th, I think. This guy had a full beard. I mean, he was a man pretty much, and I was a little 9th grader. But I told him, man, you got to learn folk style, and let's wrestle folk style, you and I. He says, what is folk style? I said, you make us learn freestyle. We're going to make all the rest of the world learn folk style and come to America.
Yeah.
But, man, yeah, it was.
It was fun, man. It was fun. It's similar, right? But like you can't connect your hands when the guy's
Yeah.
down.
Can't lock your hands.
Just little things, right? Like the escapes is cool. I think the escapes is cool.
Yeah, and then
For fighting, you know, like if you relate that to fighting, if you stand up to your feet,
So
like in
important.
MMA,
yeah.
if you stand up to your feet, it changes the game, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like they have that in folk style. Yeah.
Even top control.
Top
In
control.
folk style, so you know you have to turn and tilt
Right,
and
right,
back points.
right,
You know,
right, right,
Freestyle, you're trying to expose their back,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you know it's a lot. You know, I wasn't the best freestyle. My brother was very good, but I probably think he'd say that folk style is a lot more intense. You know, for sure, because there's a lot more movement, not neutral, but you know, top and bottom
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
And
One
like
of
you
the
said,
matches, she just like took, because we didn't know what, she kept getting called on touching the hands, you know.
yeah. Oh, it's
And not that
annoying.
she was, but you know, when you move, you just whatever you
Yeah.
it slides,
They
you
can't
can
even
just touch. Yeah.
It's crazy.
And so she just started doing a seatbelt and the back, the hooks, putting hooks in.
Yeah, with their legs,
Yeah.
like a grapevine.
like a jiu-jitsu, like
Yeah.
back hooks, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, it
And
works.
just- yeah,
I throw
yeah.
my legs in all the time,
Yeah.
and
But it was a lot of fun, man. She just started pinning all the girls, you know. She had like 8 matches and like six pins. It was crazy.
it's gonna be exciting to see her.
Yeah.
come up in it,
Yeah, it was
hopefully.
just so much fun.
Yeah.
So emotional, ups and downs,
Oh,
you know,
man.
like just
Because it's also fast, right?
yeah,
And you're
yeah.
like-
Yeah, it was great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy for you guys, man.
Yeah, I
Hopefully.
became a fan of just the whole thing, you know. And it's kind of primal. It reminds me of old jiu-jitsu tournaments too.
When you first started out. in
Yeah,
the-
because you kind of don't know when you're gonna go.
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just show up and then you know you weigh in, whatever, and then you don't know when you're gonna go. I think it's better than the old school jiu-jitsu tournaments because you
Yeah.
can wait around all day. But wrestling tournaments are a little bit like that, you know?
Yeah, especially if you've only done it 4 times out there. Like once you go into like state and stuff, it's a
Yeah.
little better
Yeah,
sanctioned
organized.
and
Yeah, yeah,
organized
yeah.
for sure. But yeah, I think
Overall, it's just like reminds me of it has the old school like
Yeah.
vibes, you know, like primal kind of primal.
Oh, yeah,
like
absolutely,
you got to be tough. You got to be able to deal with your nerves.
for sure.
You gotta be able to go on a second,
yeah.
like you know,
Yeah.
compete on
Yeah,
like in
exactly.
a couple minutes. Okay, let's go. Boom.
So I think the key to any like fighter is like once you get control of your mind,
Yeah,
you can get through it.
yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah,
So that's why I always tell people it's like 80%,
yeah.
even maybe 90%
Yeah,
mental,
Yeah.
and then
Talk to athletes, right? Like high level athletes, and they say like 80-90% is mental.
100% true.
How you believe,
Yeah.
how you think.
I remember my junior year in high school, state finals. Me and Brandon Strong was the finals, and I think it was like 7-2, and I was losing in the second period, and I chose down. And I remember just looking at the score because I chose down. You could see the table, and I was like, I'm not losing this match. I'm not losing this match. And it was just a mental thing in my mind because I worked hard. You know,
Yeah,
I trained
yeah,
hard.
awesome.
I knew the technique. It was all we were fine. And yeah, it ended up being a great match. You know, like it was like I think 7-6 or something at the end, and very questionable back points that I didn't get. And
Okay.
so I ended up getting second place that year. But it was all mental to be for sure. You know, because
Yeah.
I could have been down there and been
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh man,
Giving up,
7-2.
right? You have a choice, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna fight to try to win, or you're gonna, accept.
Yeah, that's I think
Losing.
the first time that I made that decision where I realized that
Make
it's
a
a mental
decision.
thing, that your mind is so powerful, right?
Yeah.
In anything. Yeah. So, you know, I think if we can teach even my own kids or the wrestling kids that, because it just goes into life
Yeah,
later on. Like,
that's it.
you know,
That's
we
it.
can get through this problem because, you know, marriage is tough, raising kids is tough.
Yeah.
And sometimes these kids are tougher than we are
Yeah.
mentally.
Yeah.
So,
It's true. It's tough, right?
so if you can just, you know,
Make that right choice
yeah.
in the stressful situations.
Yeah, and I think now jiu-jitsu is definitely helping me even more, right? Because now you're in like bad situations.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
You know, you have to think about it. Like, don't worry about it. Like, it's you know, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's such
Yeah.
it's a great sport, man.
Yeah.
For me right now.
yeah.
So
Awesome, man. I love having you. I love your attitude. Love your energy. Love that you're from New Mexico. Get to talk these old stories and different things.
absolutely, and I appreciate you so much, man. Just that I can come here and have a place, and you know, got my black belt with you.
Yeah,
and,
thank you, man.
And just the people that are here and that stay here, you know, you created a good culture, and I appreciate that. And it's almost like my second home, pretty much. I tell my wife it's like it's therapy really for me. I have a very stressful job, and coming here, being able to do my thing, and you providing this type of atmosphere and space, and the people that come out of here, just very respectful. They respect you. So, man, just thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And it was an honor to get my black belt from you, to be honest with you. So really appreciate that.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's
100%.
honor's mine.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you, and let's keep it going.
Absolutely. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, brother.